Good morning. Today we'll start with introduction and basic concepts. We'll start with the topic manometers. So many engineering problems and some manometers involve multiple miscible fluids of different densities stacked on top of each other. So manometer can be of this type also. So this is your atmosphere pressure here. Fluid 1, fluid 2, fluid 3, and these fluids are immiscible, means they would not mix each other. So if you calculate the pressure here at one point, it is equal to, so this pressure of this due to this fluid, that is a height into density into gravity, that is rho 1 gh1 plus second fluid, then plus third fluid is equal to P1, this pressure at this point. Also manometers can be used to measure the pressure across a flow section. So you can use this manometer to measure the pressure drop in this pipe. This is the fluid pipe at 1 and 2 point. Because fluid is flowing due to friction, at this point pressure P1 is greater than pressure P2. That's why fluid is flowing in this direction. So this manometer can be used. You can see here the fluid will enter to the manometer, and this much amount of this is the fluid of manometer. It can be, you can say, mercury or some miscible fluid. So this will raise to a level by height h. Now if you do the calculations, you have this pressure P1 plus density here rho 1, and this much amount of depression is equal to rho 1 into A into H. So rho 1 into A into H minus this density into this height, so minus rho 2 GH. This is the density of the fluid mercury or whatever the fluid manometer has. This is rho 2 into H, and then you had again rho 1 into H. So again you had rho 1 G into A. So after solving you will get P1 minus P2 is equal to rho 2 minus rho 1 into GH. So this is way you can measure the pressure drop, that is P1 minus P2 across a pipe, horizontal pipe. There are other pressure measuring devices. Another type commonly used is mechanical pressure measuring device, that is Bourdon tube. So this you can see here. Various types of Bourdon tubes are here. This first is C type, second is your spiral, third is twisted, then you helical. So what is in there is here, when the high pressure gas will enter into this Bourdon tube, due to the high pressure this tube tends to straighten, so its curvature will decrease, and same when high pressure gas enter into this spiral, this spring tends to unwind, and this twisted tube tends to untwist, and this again helical spring tries to move, unwind. So this will at this end there is some you can see gear mechanism or some sort of mechanism. With the movement of this tube, this will give some displacement, deflection, and that deflection is calibrated in terms of pressure. So French engineer and inventor Bourdon, which consists of a hollow metal tube bent like a hook, whose end is closed and connected to a dial indicator needle. So this end is connected to indicator needle. When the tube is open to atmospheric, the tube is undeflected and the needle on the dial gauge at this state is calibrated to reach 0. When the fluid inside the tube is pressurized, the tube stretched and moves the needle in a proportion to the pressure applied. So nowadays electronic devices has been used. So moreover pressure transistors are also used. Various techniques to convert pressure effect to an electrical effect. Like by changing voltage, resistance as capacitance, we had materials which act differently under pressure. They will transfer different amount of current and the resistance will change. So that can be calibrated in terms of pressure. Also we had this strain gauge pressure transducers, work by having a diaphragm deflect between two chambers open to pressure inputs. As the diaphragm stretched in response to change in pressure, the strain gauge stretches and a Wheatstone bridge circuit amplifies the output. A capacitor transistor works similarly, but capacitance charge is measured instead of resistance change. Then we have piezoelectric transistors that we had seen in a lot of applications. When they pressure will act, they will produce some sort of electrical current, and that electric current, the amount of electric current can be calibrated to measure what is the pressure. So piezoelectric pressure transducer have a much faster frequency response compared to others also. So next is also a devices called barometer. The barometer and atmospheric pressure. Atmospheric pressure is measured by a device called barometer. So this is Italian Ivanogle Torricelli was the first who introduced proved that the atmospheric pressure can be measured by inverting a mercury filled tube into a mercury container that is open to atmosphere. So you can see in this figure, this is your basic barometer, this is your mercury in the tube, this tube is upside down. So what will happen, due to the pressure of the atmospheric, the mercury level in the tube will increase, and this height whatever is will give you the is equal to this height gain is equal to will give you the atmospheric pressure. So weight of this column, weight of this mercury in the column is rho g h into area, and if you will use different you can say a size tube with different cross section area, the height would be same. It means whatever the pressure here, it is independent of area. So whatever size of tube you will take, whether A1, A2, A2, the height will same. So we can neglect this area, and when you neglect this area, what we will get, that is because weight is equal to force, so then force divided by area, you will get rho AGH, and this is your atmospheric pressure. So a frequently used pressure unit is standard atmosphere, which is defined as pressure produced by a column of mercury 760 mm or 76 centimeter in height, which you can use in most of laboratories under standard gravitational acceleration. If water instead of mercury were to use, the column of about 10.3 meter would be needed. If instead of this mercury you use the water, then this column height would be very large, it would be 10.3 meter, that is not feasible. So we use mostly mercury barometer. The standard atmospheric pressure, for example, is 760 mm Hg. So whatever the pressure here, this due to this height, this is 76 centimeter or 760 mm of mercury column. So this is your atmospheric pressure, because this is a standard in the open atmosphere, and we compare usually by this pressure. If the pressure is lower than this, then we will write as like 730 mm of Hg. If pressure is above this, then we will write accordingly. The standard atmospheric pressure, P atmosphere, changes from 101.325 kilopascal at sea level to around 5.5 kilopascal, means 1/20th at you can say at 20 kilometer of height. So also the decline of atmospheric pressure with elevation has far-reaching ramifications in daily life. For example, cooking takes longer at high altitude since water boils at a lower temperature at lower atmospheric pressure. Boiling point of water will also change with the pressure. If pressure decreases, the boiling point of water will decrease. It will become evaporate at 90 degrees Celsius. So the heat won't transfer to the cookie, and the water will escape, and fuel will remain uncooked. So also nose bleeding is a common experience at a high altitude since difference between the blood pressure and atmospheric pressure is larger. For a given temperature, the density of air is lower at high altitudes, and thus the given volume contains less air and oxygen. So it is no surprise that we tire more easily and experience breathing problems at high altitudes. Also similarly, a 2-liter car engine will act like a 1.7-liter car engine, because the overall amount of air density has decreased and the lesser amount of air will come into the engine, and there must be some 50 to 20% drop. So you can see here at high altitudes a car generates less power, and a person even gets less oxygen because of lower density of air. So means there is difficulty in doing work at high altitudes. Next is problem solving, how to solve the actual problems. So this text will explain you how to follow step-by-step approach. An engineer can reduce the solution of a complicated problem to solution of a series of simple problems. Means it is easy way if you go by step by step instead of just direct is if you get the solution. So better is to solve the problem, divide the problem in steps and solve one by one. So problem statement, in your own words, briefly state the problem, the key information, whatever given, the quantities to be found. So this is make sure that you understand the problem and objectives before attempt to start to solve the problem. You must know what is the problem and what are its objectives. Draw a realistic sketch of the physical system involved and list the relevant information in the figure. The sketch does not have to be something elaborate, but it should be resemble the actual system and show the key features. Also, it should indicate any energy and mass interactions with the surroundings. So, like you have suppose air temperature in Denver, this is given, and you have to find the density of air, and pressure is missing. So you can also assume something if not given pressure. You can take 1 atmosphere. So and also answer 2, take pressure is 0.283 atmosphere if you will take the effect of other into account. So this is your assumption and approximation. Then your physical laws, apply your relevant basic laws and principles and reduce them to simplest form by utilizing the assumptions made. For example, the increase in speed of water flowing through a nozzle is analyzed by applying conservation of mass between inlet and outlet. So this is the law which we will apply here, physical conservation of mass at nozzle inlet and nozzle outlet. Next is properties. So determine the unknown properties at known states necessary to solve the problem, like density and other list properties separately. And then you have the calculation part. You have to do the calculation carefully, pay particular attention to the units and unit cancellations. And remember that a dimensional quantity without a unit is meaningless, and dimensional homogeneity should be also maintained. Then reasoning, verification and discussion. Suppose this is the case here where energy use is $80 per year, and after solving the problem you will get energy saved by insulation. After doing the insulation is 200 a year, which is impractical, impossible, because energy use $80 per year, and after insulation it can be reduced, energy use can be reduced to 40 or $30, but here you had saved more than what it is actually, so it is not feasible. For example, if you determine that wrapping a water heater with a $20 insulation jacket will reduce the energy cost by $30 a year, indicated that the insulation will pay for itself from the energy it saves in the less than a year. However, also indicate that the analysis does not consider labor cost. So means whatever you have to check whether your results are compatible. Or the next is your engineer softwares. Nowadays for the problem solving there are software available. You may be wondering why we are about to undertake an in-depth study of the fundamentals and other engineering science. After all, almost all such problems we are likely to encounter in practice can be solved using one of several sophisticated software packages readily available. But if this software is available, this tremendous computational power available to us at a touch of button is both blessing and curse. Because it certainly enables an engineer to solve problems easily and quickly, but it also opens the door for abuses and misinformation. In the hands of purely educated people, these software packages are as dangerous as sophisticated power tools. So you have to use these tools, but before this use your tool you must have the basic knowledge. Otherwise we should always remember that all computing power and engineering software packages today are just tools, and tools have meaning only in the hands of masters. Having the best word processing program does not make a person a good writer, but it certainly makes the job of a good writer much easier and makes a writer more productive. So we need engineer at the same time, and we must have the depth knowledge of the subject. Engineer equation solved. This is also a program that solves system of linear and non-linear algebraic equations, because whatever the thermodynamic problems, they can be, you can say, realized, you can say, converted into mathematical equations. And to solve this mathematical equation we can use this. It has a large library of built-in thermodynamic property functions as well as mathematical functions, and allow the user to supply additional property data. Unlike some software packages, E does not solve engineering problems, it only solves the equations supplied by the user. So this is also to help to solve, to make the calculation easy. Next is significant digits. So we will study with the help of example. For example, you had consider a 3.75 liter container filled with a gasoline whose density is 0.845 kilogram per liter. So this is up to 2 significant figure, and this is up to 3 significant figure, and you multiply this, we will get this amount 3.1687, which is it is 5 significant figure, but it is not so, because which folly implies that the mass determined is accurate to 6 significant digits. In reality, however, the mass cannot be more than accurate than 3 significant digits, since both the volume and the density are accurate to 3 significant digits only. So this is also which we have to take care in during the solution of the problems. So this is up to here is the introduction and basic concepts. This chapter is complete now. Like this video, subscribe my channel, and thank you for watching this video.